everyone, it's Darkseeker here again. Welcome back for another video. Now, in my last video, I played the deck on the left, Zetalot's Mindblast, or I think as it's called, Mindburst Priest, on Standard Mode. And this is a deck that took me from rank 10 to rank 6. In this video today, we'll be looking at our journey to rank 5 with this deck. It's an excellent deck, as you saw in my last video. Different ways of getting lethal. You've got the Gargoyle, which gives you a coin. So you can play Velen, Mindblast, coin, Mindblast. That's 20 damage, which is insane. You've then got, of course, Shadow Reaper Anduin in this deck. So Hero Power with Anduin does 2 damage. So Hero Power Mindblast, Hero Power Mindblast, Hero Power is 16 damage. You've also got Alex Straza to bring them down to 15, which makes getting lethal all the more easier. The Zetalot deck also has a very good early minion presence. You've got Netherspite Historian, which doesn't seem like much, but it's a 1/3 body, but you discover a dragon, which can then give you crazy value in the mid-game or the late game. You have Duskbreaker, you have Draconoid Operative, yes it is OP. You've got Skulking Geist, of course, Primordial Drake, so you've got minion presence in this deck. The minions can go face, they can do damage, setting up your Mindblast lethals. And of course, let's not forget Draconoid Operative discovering you useful cards from your opponent's deck, which could also find you lethal. Discovering a Pyroblast from a Mage deck, or even a Fireball for that matter, can aid you finishing that game all the more quicker. So, that's the Zetalot Mindblast deck. There's also another deck that interests me because I was looking back at my comments on my last video when I played the Zetalot deck, and it was suggested that maybe I should consider Prophet Velen and Mindblast and Malygos. I know you guys love Malygos, so I thought, what the hell, let's try a big priest deck with Velen, Malygos and Mindblast. So that's the Pebody deck on the right hand side that you can see. Now, what's the difference? Well, the Pebody deck sort of relies on Shadow Essence to summon big threats, like Velen, like Malygos, like Yashraj, Obsidian Statue. You then resurrect those threats with Eternal Servitude and the Spellstones. Now, this deck has board clears and healing that's quite similar to the Zetalot deck. The difference being Shadow Word Horror and the Pint-Size combo. So that's a key difference. Whereas the Zetalot deck has the Duskbreaker, because you've got the Dragon Synergy. Now, with the Pebody deck, it can take a while to get your minions down. What if you don't draw Shadow Essence? Well, maybe instead of Shadow Essence, you get Barnes on turn 4. Although, what are the chances you get that? If you're a very lucky Hearthstone player, yeah, you get Barnes on turn 4 every single time. If you're unlucky like me, you play Shadow Essence on turn 6, and it summons Barnes. Yeah, that's my luck in this game. So anyway, so the late game minions are sort of bigger in the Pebody deck. They're bigger hitters, so, and of course when your opponent sees Velen, they're going to expect Mindblast, which sort of gives the game away, I guess, because you could summon Velen from Shadow Essence on turn 6, but not be ready to kill your opponent with Mindblast. But now they've seen Velen, they know he's coming, they know that something bad is coming their way over the next few turns. Whereas in the Zetalot deck, you can sort of hide Velen. They'll see the dragons and they'll just think, oh yeah, it's a dragon deck. What's the worst that's going to happen? Use the dragons to hit their face to get them down. Then you play Velen, Mindblast, coin Mindblast, and they're instantly dead. They never see it coming, as I repeated several times in my last video. Yeah, I guess though with the Pebody deck, you could argue that the final combos are more dangerous because, I mean, think about this. Let's say you play a Spellstone and get Velen, then you play Eternal Servitude, you get Velen. how much damage do those Mind Blasts do then? So, I guess with Malygos in the mix as well, you're potentially able to do a hell of a lot more damage. And that was one of the negative points with the Zetalot deck. If you faced an opponent that could armour up, for example, and gain insane amounts of armour, like Druid with their Death Knight hero power, actually, a couple of Mind Blasts with the Velen may not just be enough to punch through the armour. But with the Pebody deck, if you've got Malygos and Velen in the mix, with a couple more resurrected versions of them, suddenly your Mind Blasts are incredibly dangerous, and it is not just Mind Blast that does the job. Holy Smites are in this deck as well. So you have a much bigger damage potential with the Pebody deck. It's just that it can take a bit longer to set up. And that's where the deck can fail, because you can just get out aggroed very, very quickly. So let's have a look at both of these decks in action on the standard mode ladder, and we're going to start off with the Zetalot deck just to remind ourselves about how awesome it is. Okay, so going up against a Warlock, what kind of Warlock is it going to be? He's rank 5, I'm rank 6. It's probably going to be Q-Block, right? That's usually what it is. So with this opening hand, we have the Cleric, which is a reasonable turn 1 play. We even have the Coin for Power Word Shield. We do like drawing cards to start with. If he's able to cheat a Void Lord out early, we do have Shadow Word Pain. And Shadow Word Death for anything big like a Doomguard. Okay, so we're in a reasonable position here, I think. We'll see what he plays to counteract the Cleric. Of course, he's not going to want to play cards like Kobold Librarian, because the Cleric trades into them, kills them, we heal, we draw a card. So this could stall him for a few turns where he doesn't feel comfortable playing any minions due to the healing that I get. And I must remember, this is standard mode. There are no Void Callers in standard, and that's a really, really important point. There's no Malygos either. Oh, that's a giant. Okay. Luckily for us, we had Shadow Word Death there. Very timely. If we didn't have Shadow Word Death, it may have been very difficult for us to come back into this game. Because it would have been difficult killing that giant. Oh look, there's another one, of course.
Side effects.
So he saw one Shadow Word Death. He's not going to be expecting a second one.
Right away.
So I think we draw first. That's useful. Okay, we're in a really good spot now. We've just eliminated both giants. And considering that this is not wild mode and there'll be no Malygos, the giants, I guess, are his biggest hitters, his biggest threats. And they've both been eliminated. Now, Skulking Geist. Really good here. Really good. I know there are some people who don't agree with Geist being played in any decks at all, but look, in this situation, it's just eliminated both Dark Pacts. That is really, really critical, because that's his healing. And now, apart from the spell stones, essentially we've eliminated his healing, which for our deck is really, really important, because of course we rely on doing the OTK finish with Mind Blast. We need him at an appropriate health total.
You're so sweet. Yes. Oh yes.
Okay. That's just changed a few things. Prophet Velen. Well, OTK finish may now be out the window. He now knows who and what I really am. He knows that I'm a burst priest, and he's now probably really, really happy that I've lost my Velen. However, as we've discussed previously, there are different ways to win with this deck. You don't need Prophet Velen all of the time. We have other methods. It's just a question of making the right plays and setting things up. Now, I'm going to pop the Lackey here. And yes, that seemed like a bad play because it put a Void Lord on the board, but it's put a 4/8 down on my board. And I need to buy some time here. That's what I need to do. I need to buy some time until I get Shadow Reaper Anduin. Because I have a feeling that my way of winning this game will be Shadow Reaper Anduin, Hero Powers comboed with Mindblast. That's what's going through my mind at the moment. Anyway, he's building up a tremendous board here. He's going all in. He does not fear Psychic Scream. This is a brave Warlock. Well, I have Dragonfire Potion, I have Psychic Scream, I have options here. I think popping the Void Lord first seems sensible. And we could Psychic Scream this board. That will stop something coming out from Possessed Lackey, which I think is reasonable. We've also shuffled some taunts into his deck, some 1/3 bodies. That's reasonable too. Skull of the Minari doesn't seem to be doing much for him at this juncture.
Oh yes, they'll serve me.
Now usually I'd be afraid of that Lackey. I'm not, because it's probably going to bring out a 1/3 taunt. And we're going to take the Doomguard here. That's going to help our burst finish, I think. Psychic Scream to counter his Blood Reaver Gul'dan. That's the idea there. We already have healing in our hand, so hopefully we're okay. Hopefully we're set. We have 2 Dragonfire Potions as well. Draconoid Operative is immune to Dragonfire Potions. That's really good for us. Oh god, he gets a Doomguard. Okay, sure. I was hoping he'd get a Void Walker. Okay. Skulking Geist, of course, eliminated Dark Pacts earlier so he couldn't pop the cube. So that's really good. This game is over. Doomguard lethal. Just like that. And there's the win streak bonus into rank 5. So, even though Prophet Velen was eliminated, and of course that may have lulled the Warlock into a false sense of security and hope, thinking, okay, I've got this game now, he can't kill me, he can't OTK me. Well, double Mind Blast is still 10 damage, a Doomguard is 5. Right, let's have a look now at our second deck, which is of course the Pebody Big Priest deck. Now, this deck, on the right-hand side, as I've mentioned earlier, is very different to the Zetalot deck because it's a sort of a more of a big priest-style build with you know, Yasharaj, Obsidian statues, bigger minions that you want resurrected. So the whole idea is resurrect effects being key, Barnes being key to bring something big out. And of course then, if you can get Velen back a couple of times, you can just Mind Blast them and smite them, along with Malygos on board, and they don't stand a chance. So let's have a look at the Pebody deck, and then we will finish off our video by comparing the two decks, and I'll tell you which one I prefer. Okay, so we're going up against a priest here. We're at rank 5. Now, I'll be honest with you, I've not had much luck with this this deck here. I've struggled with it. I've struggled to win with it. I found it too slow at some points. I found that I've had bad luck with Shadow Essence and Barnes. You know, Shadow Essence summoning Barnes. So yeah, I've actually struggled with it, but it still works. It could just be that I'm not skilled enough. I don't know. Whereas with the Zetalot deck, I've had an excellent win rate. I think something bordering on 70% now. At one point, it was 80%. So, and that's in a very small sample of games, obviously. But still, at this point in time, I guess I'm preferring the Zetalot deck. However, when you can see that you've got 2 Shadow Essences in hand, you know that something special is potentially going to happen. Now that something special could be Shadow Essence summoning a Yashraj, or, as tends to be my luck in this game, it could be Shadow Essence summoning a Barnes. So far, he hasn't developed anything significant, but I have just developed something significant. So, Yashraj is what we wanted, Yashraj is what we got. The silence there, to be frank, doesn't do a whole amount for him. There's still a 4-8 on board, which is a heavy hitter. Okay, right, I take it all back. Shadow Essence is useless. Absolutely useless. Look, we got parts. That is not what I wanted. That's what I was hoping to avoid. And, you know, we got Yashraj and things were going so well. And, of course, we get Barnes. That's right. We could have got Malygos. We could have got Velen. No, we get bloody Barnes. Okay. And that's why this deck can be a little inconsistent at times. Still, there's a Malygos on board. That's a 7 damage Holy Smite. Oh look, another 7 damage. 14 damage. It's not lethal. If we'd had a Mindblast in hand, oh well. So we're just going to wait now. We're just going to wait. We're just going to whack his face a couple more times. And then we'll OTK him. Now, this is a Spiteful Summoner Priest. So he's hoping to get big threats down as well. It's just that I think my threats are going to be a little bit more significant than his ones. Because there's Velen. How much damage is that? It's not lethal, right? So we're just going to stall for a little bit longer. On turn 9, I can Velen double Smite with Malygos on board. Who knows how much damage that is? It's just a ridiculous amount of damage. And I'm going to prioritise on fully healing my Malygos, because now my Malygos is absolutely critical for me to win this game, or to end it in the next couple of turns. Okay, forget that plan. Holy Smites are gone. We're not ending this game anytime soon. So now we're waiting on Mindblast. Oh, he plays Skulking Geist. Turns out, Skulking Geist, pretty good. Oh, of course. Mind control. Oh, dear Lord. So, we're nearly dead. Or maybe not. Let's see. We have the Greater Healing Potion. That's going to heal our face. Shadow Visions. What are we looking to discover here? We're looking for a Mind Blast. Is that what we're looking for? Because we want to end this game soonish. Instead of Greater Healing Potion, Spirit Lash. Actually, I'd forgotten all about that card. Yeah. Plus 17 heal. That's pretty decent. Okay. Yashraj, what are you going to give me, sir? Yeah. Give me Barnes. And as Barnes says, a tale of terrible tragedy. Yeah. This is beginning to feel like a bit of a tragedy right now. Okay. Oh, okay, at least you sacrificed yourself. That's something. Notice that we haven't picked up any spell stones, which is quite interesting. Anyway, Don't have lethal, so we're just going to keep healing and keep stalling. If Malygos sticks on the board and we play Velen, we have a 20 damage Mindblast, which actually, I believe, is lethal this turn. Yeah. So that's all you need. One Mindblast for 20 damage. Compare that to the Zetalot deck, which is 2 Mindblasts for 20 damage with Velen. The inclusion of Malygos here has made all the difference. So, yeah, Pebody's Big Priest, it's a fun deck. I do think it needs a little bit more skill to play than the Zetalot deck. And I think that its inconsistency with Barnes, drawing Barnes when you need him, or inconsistency with Shadow Essence, summoning Barnes, I mean, that can just be crippling. If you look at the board clears that both decks have, they're very, very similar. Except the Pebody deck has the pint-sized Shadow Word Horror combo. Now, I've found, generally speaking, that I don't make use of that combo very much. I found that against aggro decks, Shadow Word Horror itself is just enough, against Paladin in particular. Against decks that run bigger minions, I just find that I never find pint-sized potion with Shadow Word Horror in my hand at the same time. They're too far apart in draws for me, So, yeah, I'm not sure about that combo. I think I would probably prefer another copy of Psychic Scream in the Pebody deck. I like the Dragonfire potions. I think those are excellent. Although this deck, the Pebody deck, doesn't run dragons, so you do injure your own minions. Whereas in the Zetalot deck, you're running dragons, you play Dragonfire, and your board remains intact. So, yeah, those are the different things that were sort of running through my mind. In particular with the Pebody deck, if you do not get Barnes on turn 4, you can end up with a handful of big minions and useless spells that you can do nothing with. So, overall, I would say that the Zetalot deck has been more consistent, with a clearer end game in mind, particularly just with the double Mind Blast and the early extra board presence that you can get. And of course, Zetalot's deck has dragons. Everyone loves dragons. So, of course, the Zetalot deck will be my deck of choice. If you guys have any suggestions on either of these decks in terms of making changes, making additions, I'd be happy to hear about them in the comments section below. And of course, you guys may have noticed I'm at 499 wins on Priest, so I am 1 win away from getting my Golden Hero. So what deck would you guys like me to play with Priest on Standard or Wild to get my 500 wins? It needs to be a competitive deck, it needs to be an interesting deck, and a deck that is capable of winning. So please do post some ideas, some deck codes in the comments section below, and maybe, just maybe, I'll pick one of them, and I will play that deck to get 500 wins. So, thank you very much for joining me, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the deck comparison between the Zetalot deck and the Pebody deck, and I'll see you guys all again very soon for more Hearthstone fun.